Welcome back to the channel. Today we're discussing an Australian court battle over a trademark which I personally feel could set a potentially very dangerous precedent. This story is over a trademark and features Katy Perry, an Australian fashion designer, going against, well, you probably guessed it, Katy Perry, the American singer, or at least her legal team. I honestly can't say that I don't know how involved the actual singer is involved in this case, but certainly they are battling over the rights of the use of the name Katy Perry, even though the two ladies spell it slightly differently. The singer is Katy, and the fashion designer is Katie Perry. This is a court case that has been going on for 15 years, and I have been aware of this before. In fact, last year in November, an Australian court ruled in Katy, the Australian fashion designer's favour. However, towards the end of last month, about a year later almost, a court overturned that verdict on appeal, leaving Katie the fashion designer's future, including her business's future, extremely unclear and facing potentially, as she stated on one of the Australian news channels, potentially facing losing everything and having a genuinely unknown future for her and her family. And this isn't just a case that is, again, for me, is very concerning over especially the way that this is, and just the whole case in general is extremely concerning about what is actually at stake here, and that is literally the use of the names, especially if you involve, and you have to in this case, the fact that the Australian fashion designer, and I make apologies for continuing to call her that because I want to try and differentiate the two sides here. But Katy Perry, the Australian fashion designer, this is her actual legal name, her birth name. This is their actual name that she's had her whole life. She released a statement towards the end of November, which I'll get to in a moment. But if you even do a little bit of a search on her, you will see that it comes up that her name is actually Katie Jane Perry. So it is her actual legal name, her birth name, that she is potentially facing being blocked using completely in any aspect of her business. And for me, that is extremely concerning when you think about it. So let's get to the statement that Katie, the fashion designer, actually put up on her social media. Now, I noticed this on the Katy Perry fashion designer uh, Facebook page as being put up on the 28th of November. However, I do want to point out that I checked her website just yesterday, and I just checked it again before I recorded this, and this statement was the same statement, but that was dated the 22nd of November. I'll put up the statement so that you can read it as I read along. But this actually, that just for the sake of the statement, it just changes the timeline very, very slightly, and we'll get to this. So this is what the statement actually says from again Katy Perry, Katie Perry, the Australian fashion designer. This is what she has put up on the again the 22nd on her website and on the 28th of November on her Facebook page. It says the following. So it's been a whirlwind few days. As you can imagine, I am devastated with the outcome of the case. I won my case at first instance, and to have it overturned on appeal is heartbreaking. This case proves a trademark isn't worth the paper it's printed on. I just want to put some mistruths straight. I started my fashion label in 2006 and, like so many designers, used my own name. I filed a trademark when I first started my business without any thoughts about a singer. Like many small businesses, I did this as one of the steps in setting up a business in Australia. Steps that the Australian government suggests. Get an ABN, which, by the way, is an Australian business number. It just literally means that she has registered it as a legitimate business for tax and everything else. No, it's registered as an official business. In UK, it'd be the same as registering it as for Companies House. If you look up Companies House in the UK, that's a big registry of the businesses. That's what an ABN is. It's just a unique identifying number. Register. So she got a ABN, register a business name, and get a trademark. Tick, tick, and tick. I always believed that a trademark was there to protect all businesses, small and big, but the verdict last Friday says otherwise. In 2009, the singer opposed my trademark and then, 2 hours before court, withdrew. After that time, I never heard from her or her team, and there was no coexistence offer. As far as I was concerned, she was a singer and not a fashion designer. A reminder that the singer's real name is Catherine Elizabeth Hudson. So now I can't use the name on my birth certificate. My fashion label has been a dream of mine since I was 11 years old, and now that dream that I have worked so hard for since 2006 has been taken away. 100% Australian owned, I manufacture my brand in Sydney and pay taxes to Australia. And again, I'll interject, that's for the ABN, the Australian business number, basically just registering the business as a legitimate number so that she's honest and legal of paying taxes and whatever business rates and stuff like that in Australia. I don't know Australian law, but we'll get to that. It continues though. Once again, overseas businesses seem to have special preference to Australian businesses. In 23 days, my trademark will be cancelled. I will take some time to digest the decision and work out my next steps with my legal team. Thank you to everyone for the messages of support and for all the orders that have been flooding in. I don't feel so alone in my outrage. And again, that is a statement come from Katy Perry, Katie Perry, the Australian fashion designer. And that is the statement again. Slight difference in the timeline here because I noticed that that statement was uploaded in the parts that you will see on the 28th of November. However, going to her website, that statement was, and then there's a lot more to the statement, a lot more to context and everything if you go onto her website, which you can see in the bottom right hand corner. I'm not going to blur it out because I want to give credit to people's statements if I use them. If you go onto her fashion website, you scroll down, there's a bit about the court case. You click here, you click there to read it, and that statement was actually put up on the 22nd of November. So potentially, as I record this on Thursday, the 12th of December. It could be very well that her trademark, that again she bought, trademarked about 15 or actually nearly about 18 years ago almost. Um, she could lose that as early as this coming Monday. I thought it would be the 21st, but certainly it looks like it could be potentially null and void as soon as this coming Monday if you follow the timeline from the earlier statement, which was the one that was on the website. So, as early as Monday, she might very well lose all the rights to use the name Katy Perry in her business, which again is an extremely concerning statement that somebody can't use their own birth name in their own business. That to me, again, I'm not a legal. I said I'm not a legal expert. I don't know UK law. I don't know Australian law. I don't know American law. I don't know any international law. I've never studied any law qualifications or anything like that. But just to me, as just a general member of the public, and again, I'm speaking here from Scotland. So again, I don't know what Australian law is and what any restrictions legally there are. For her to be not able to use her own legal name, it just sounds really dodgy. I mean, if somebody was to, I don't know, trademark a name and then suddenly turn around and say, all you Liams and Sharons and Katie's and stuff, you're not allowed to use your own name in a business that you run, that doesn't honestly sound right to me at all. I mean, I understand if, for example, her if Katy Perry or her legal team were to launch legal action against someone and or their business if they believed that that person was trying to trade on the back of the singer. In other words, that other person was either inferring, hinting, or in some other way stating that their business had either at least some kind of relationship, endorsement, or some kind of approval in any way, shape, or form from Katy Perry, the singer. And that was not, in fact, true. That the singer had absolutely no knowledge, relationship, or anything to do with that business, then I would understand it because people trying to use, whether it be in advertising, marketing, or any part of the business whatsoever, then I would understand it because obviously, you know, like I would be the same. You know, if somebody was to say to me, and I've had it with something a little bit before where they kind of tried to use my name a little bit in a local wrestling thing, but I'm no longer associated with them, and I made the comment, I'm no longer associated with you. And a genuine story that doesn't really need to go into, but I said, and others said, no longer anything to do with you, mate. Nothing to do with you. You're bringing up my name again for in a memory of an event that happened years ago, which was a great event, but you know, not a fan of yours anymore. Um, I would be exactly the same if anybody tried to, again, say that I was endorsing something that I wasn't, especially if I was a major celebrity. And obviously, if you are such a major celebrity like the singer Katy, then obviously people do that. Sometimes they'll try and kind of mimic or just basically use or try to pretend that that celebrity or well-known person endorses or has some kind of relationship with the business because, of course, many fans of celebrities, singers, artists, whatever, are very loyal and want to help support either the artist or a business that they want to help or have a relationship with or they own or something. You know, uh, they will jump on the bandwagon of buying stuff that if they think that it's something official to do with the artist. And obviously, again, I would understand it if this was the case, but it doesn't genuinely, absolutely, from what I could see online. doing a little bit of research, that absolutely doesn't seem to be the case. Katy Perry, the Australian fashion designer, doesn't ever seem to claim anything that she's related to, anything to do, any business relationship, endorsement, or anything to do with the American singer. She's absolutely nothing to do with it, never claimed it, never said anything that I could see that, oh yeah, well, obviously, again, as she stated, she took out the trademark years before the singer Katy Perry, whose name, obviously, as she says, isn't even legitimately, and I don't think legally even, because I do know some artists will change their name to the stage name that they use. Uh, Prince or something like that. You get even people in like pro wrestling that I'm part of. They'll do that. Some of them will change their name to their actual wrestling name for whatever reason. Some big names do that to try and avoid copyright and stuff like that if they move from a major company. But some people will do it. Some artists will do that. They will literally change their legal name to be or include their stage name. And so that's not what's happening here. The fashion designers never claimed anything to do with the singer, and again, she trademarked the name long before the singer was even really a major artist or even doing anything in the music industry. And she may have been starting to try and sing and enjoy singing, obviously, but she's never claimed that kind of relationship. The fashion designer, as far as I can tell, has never ever claimed that she has anything to do with the singer. So it is really, really concerning that this is actually the case. And again, as early as potentially in this coming Monday, she may not any longer be able to use the name Katy Perry. And again, going back to wrestling, I know when the WWE had to change their name, and again, I don't know law, but sometimes in these kind of cases, especially when it comes to things like trademark, and I've watched enough of these consumer programs, especially when they follow uh, the enforcement of trademarks and copyright things, and especially when they kind of braid these kind of warehouses or shops that are selling knockoff brands, there is the serious potential because actually I think Katie, the designer, said on that Australian news program that I saw her interviewed uh, on with the presenter Ali, that things like her bags and everything like that, she may very well be prevented from actually using all of that kind of stuff. She may very well be completely prevented from using and selling. I don't know. Again, I don't know Australian law whether she'd be allowed to distribute, sell, or anything once Monday comes. And again, judging it and working out from the statement on their website, taking that date, but even say a week later, or the 21st at the latest, if that's the actual date, she may not even be able to sell or distribute in any way the current stock of any clothing or any items that she has with the Katy Perry name attached to it. So I don't know how much stock she has. I don't know how many of the bags and other whatever stuff she has in her shop that has got Katy Perry on it. And again, Katie. I don't know how much stuff she's got in there, but she may not even literally be able to sell it, to distribute it, to give it away. And anyway, so I've seen a couple of cases like that where literally, if they own the copyright or even in video games, stuff like that, if they lose the rights to a franchise or the license expires, they are literally not allowed to do anything with any of the stuff that they've got with with that trademark or copyright on it. They have to literally destroy it. And again, that's not really the most important thing. That's not really the thing that I think people should take away from this. I think it is legitimately the fact that it's their birth name. That's her legal name. It's always been her name. It's not her married name. It's not. She has children, but I don't believe it's not her married name that she's been using. If she has been married, I'm not entirely sure. That's a little bit unclear, and I don't want to particularly delve into her personal life. That's not my business. But certainly, her birth name has been and is Katy Jane Perry. So, not being allowed to use her own name, and again, I don't know how this would be allowed in various different international laws in different countries and different territories, but not being allowed to use her own legal name, that sounds absolutely dodgy. That really, really doesn't sound like that should be legally allowed. So again, anybody can come and trademark, I don't know, Liam and say to any other Liams and any other businesses, oh well, you can't use the name Liam now for your business because there might be a little bit of a mix-up. I'd love to see the fallout of that, but seriously, that is extremely concerning. Personally, my thoughts on it is extremely concerning, and I understand if it was like a similar business. I don't know whether Katy Perry, the singer's ever done anything with fashion. I know you get typical with many of these celebrities, you get a lot of the offers of them to design perfumes and clothing and various different merchandise and all sorts of endorsement deals that they will typically get. I understand that, but and I can understand if she was to design stuff, there might be a kind of a little bit of a mix up, a little bit of a you know. Well, is this Katy Perry the singer, or is this Katy Perry the fashion designer or stuff? There'd be a little bit of mix up and crossover there. But legitimately not to be able to use her own name, it seems that doesn't sit very well with me at all. And that is again a dangerous precedent. I don't want us to go down the line of again even just generally so somebody else can come in and trademark them. And I know there was the battle between was it Kylie Jenner and Kylie Minogue over the name. If it's specific kind of industries, like again, pops, music and stuff like that. Because if you think of Cher, there's only one person you think of. But just to have somebody not allow and just an everyday literally worker in person to not be able to use their own name because there happens to be a singer by the same name, that again, that is the part that really, really doesn't sit well with me. I don't know what the future of this lady is going to be. This designer, I wish her well. I again, she doesn't have the resources to keep fighting that. She said it on the Australian interview. I think I'll try and find what the name of it is and put it in the description. But absolutely, she doesn't obviously have the resources to keep fighting this. She doesn't have the money. She's got a family to try and provide for. Uh, Obviously, again, she said in that statement the murder's been flooding in, so it's raised a little bit of awareness of it. But obviously, the awareness doesn't help if she's not able to even continue her business. So again, that is really, really concerning. I hope there is some kind of resolution that can be made of this. And again, I'm not a legal expert, but I would hate to think that this would be just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to just average kind of people not being able to use their own name just simply because there happens to be a well-known figure out there in the entertainment field in some description that is able to just whip in and take the trademark and use the name, and that is just the dangerous part of well-known people, celebrities or big businesses being able to swoop in, especially if it's your own legal name, not be able to use it. As you can tell, that's the part that really has blown my mind. It's just, I think, absolutely ridiculous.